Welcome to the Fate of Ukraine channel. Leader Zelensky gave the order. The chief of the General Staff of Ukraine, Valery Zaluzhnyi, launched the big operation. The operational troops launched a massive offensive. Valery Zaluzhnyi, commander-in-chief of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, stated that the Ukrainian army has regained positions that it had lost in some regions. During major operations, Russian defense positions were first hit by artillery systems. Then the infantry units launched a ground operation. As a result of the attacks, the Russian army had to retreat. After the operation, the commander of the Ukrainian General Staff Zaluzhnyi had a telephone conversation with the U.S. Chief of Staff, Mark Milley. The two commanders argued about the course of the war. The Ukrainian commander stated to his colleague that the Russian army carried out more than 50 attacks in the Donetsk region, after which the fighting in the Volodar and Marinka regions intensified. The Ukrainian commander also noted that the defensive lines are reliably defended. After the recent clashes, the Ukrainian army continues to keep Bakhmut under control. On the front line around the city, the Ukrainian soldiers are making steady small advances. In addition, the troops in the north of Ukraine continue to monitor the military activities of Russia in the Belgorod region. According to the latest information, Belgorod Oblast Governor Vyacheslav Gladkov stated that explosions were heard in the town, which is about 5 kilometers from the Ukrainian borders. As a result of the explosions, it turned out that a place hit was an industrial zone. Local sources also stated that Russian tanks were repaired and maintained at this place. The Ukrainian army hit its target exactly at 12. The place that takes care of the Russian tanks is now unusable. The Russian governor of the region stated that the air defense systems were active, but the missile that launched the attack could not be hit in the air. While Russian air defense systems could not fully protect their areas, Ukrainian border guards announced that they shot down a Russian jet in Ukrainian airspace. Ukrainian border guards continue to protect their airspace very well. During the fierce clashes on the Bakhmut front, the Russian jet, which was providing air support to the Russian infantry, could not escape being hit. Recently, both sides started to show their full strength in Bakhmut, the most critical region of the war. While the Russian side is constantly sending warplanes to the region, the Ukrainian side continues to respond to the Russian Air Force. The Ukrainian border guard shot down a fighter jet for the second time in a week. Local sources stated that the fighter jet that was shot down was probably a Su-25 attack aircraft. The Ministry of Internal Affairs of Ukraine launched a new project to support the border guards in the Bakhmut region. Thanks to the Vardy Anastapu project, more than 20,000 people are expected to join the Border Guard Assault Brigade. National Guard spokesman Ruslan Musichuk stated that new recruits will be made, saying, in general, there are more than 20,000 applications. The Ukrainian army is constantly launching new campaigns to increase the number of soldiers during the war. Trying to circulate. During the operation initiated by Zelensky's order, major attacks began on the southern front as well. The Melitopol region, which is under the control of the Russian army, is the target of the Ukrainian army. Local sources stated that the new target of the Ukrainian soldiers in the liberation of this city. Following this statement, Russian soldiers' facilities in the Melitopol region were hit by HIMARS missile systems. Melitopol Mayor Ivan Fedorov stated that warehouses of military equipment and ammunition were hit. Its governor said, Melitopol is being shaken by powerful explosions. The explosions are so powerful that the ground shakes. Russian soldiers got scared and started to flee the area, said Ivan Fedorov. Local sources confirmed the governor's statements and confirmed that Russian ammunition depots had exploded strongly. Local sources also shared some unconfirmed information. Local sources claimed that the airport, train depots and train stations in the Melitopol region were also hit by the large-scale attacks. The Russian official in the Zaporizhia region stated that there were 7 big explosions in the Melitopol region within 40 minutes. In addition, the Russian officials stated that apart from the big explosions, dozens of small explosions were heard. Russian news sources lied again. Russian sources stated that the explosions occurred as a result of the Russian air defense systems hitting their targets. However, it turned out that the Russian press lied when a Russian official near the region said that the explosions really came from Russian military bases. As a result of the attacks of the Ukrainian army, the Russian side suffered one of its greatest losses. In just one day, 1134 Russian soldiers lost their lives, and as a result of the attacks, 9 tanks and 19 artillery systems were destroyed. Russian military bloggers criticized Putin and Russian commanders. Russia suffered a historic defeat near the city of Volodar in Donetsk Oblast, where the Russian forces suffered the greatest losses. The entire Russian brigade, who wanted to attack the city of Volodar, which the Ukrainian army had turned into a fortress, was shot down. Russian soldiers crushed each other while trying to escape because of panic. The Russian military blog officially got very angry with Putin. The military blog was infuriated by the failure to learn from its mistakes. Near the city of Volodar, Russian soldiers fled, abandoning dozens of armored vehicles and tanks. But it turned out that still, authorities in Moscow continue to insist that their operations around the city, located near Bakhmut and Soledar, are gradually advancing. The Russian army is stuck in the Volodar area. Ukrainian soldiers in no way allow the Russians to advance. Ukrainian drone closely followed the Russian convoy. And then Ukrainian artillery systems beat the whole region with iron fists. As a result of the attack, the Ukrainian army captured more than 30 vehicles undamaged. The exact number of armored vehicles hit is unknown. While there were many explosions in the region, inexperienced Russian soldiers fled in fear. It was revealed who the commander of the Russian soldiers who fled the region in large numbers was also revealed. It turned out that the Russian commander who led the attacks on the Volodar region was the commander who caused the death of many Russian soldiers near Pavlivka. The Russian commander is constantly making the same mistakes. Russian military bloggers repeatedly asked Russian officials why a commander who made the same mistakes was on the battlefield. Officials in Moscow stated that they will launch an investigation against Lieutenant General Rustam Muradov, the commander of the Eastern Forces Group, who also lost 31 armored vehicles after the 155th Russian Naval Commando lost his life near Pavlivka. The Ukrainian soldier loved the Russian lieutenant general. One Ukrainian soldier stated that the Russian general was quite good at leading his army. The Ukrainian military, who said that the Russian general would almost lead Ukraine to victory because of his mistakes, made a statement to the local authorities. The Russian side continues to strike the completely evacuated areas. The Russian Air Command gave the order to bomb the island of Zminy, the Snake. Russian warplanes bombarded the area 4 times. 2 Russian Su-24M bombers assigned to bomb vacant land bombarded vacant lots as if they were an exercise. The Ukrainian Southern Command watched the Russian attack with admiration. No one commented on how the empty island was bombed. Local sources stated that the Russian army successfully hit the target. Then a Ukrainian commander said that the Russians have a habit of shooting empty places. The Russians hope to achieve at least some tactical success in eastern Ukraine. However, intelligence sources stated that the Russian side did not have sufficient resources for a large-scale attack expected to be launched on February 24. While information is spreading that Russia is planning a large-scale offensive on February 24, Ukrainian military intelligence reported that Russia launched a full-scale offensive on February 24 last year, and this continues today. According to Andriy Cherniak, Russia plans to intensify its efforts in eastern Ukraine in the coming weeks, noting that it is currently trying to find weaknesses in the defense. Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal announced that a humanitarian demoning center will be established in his country. Shmyhal, in a statement on social media, stated that in the last meeting held throughout the country, the issue of demoning was discussed in the meeting with the officials of the Ministries of Economy and the Emergency Situations Service. Noting that Ukraine is one of the countries with the most mines and shells in the world today due to Russia's attacks, Shmyhal said, demoning is the first stage of the reconstruction of the liberated areas for the Russian army. Shmyhal stated that a demoning center will be established in Ukraine, which will serve as an analysis center and collect information on the demoning needs of ministries, governorates, partner countries and international organizations. The Ukrainian Demoning Center will improve coordination among all participants in the demoning activity, said Denis Shmyhal. We'll see what happens in the coming days. We have come to the end of another video. You can like the video to support us. By subscribing, you can easily follow new videos. See you.